Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I'm Caleb. I use he, they pronouns, and today's video is about my thoughts on my readings for the month of April. I read a total of 4 books, and it's fine because we're in a pandemic right now. But I did want to accomplish reading a lot more books because I tried to do the Owls readathon, but that didn't turn out quite how I wanted it to. But first off, I read, or this isn't the order that I read the books, so this is the order that I'm going to talk about them. Anyways, I read Dear Martin. I will include these books here. I say I read it, but I listened to the audiobook. And that book was disappointing. I should have known going into it that it was similar to The Hate U Give. But I figured since Dear Martin wasn't as hyped as The Hate U Give, that Dear Martin was going to be the better book, but it wasn't. My biggest critique on the book was just that it wasn't written for someone who looks like me. It was definitely written for a white audience, and written for not only just a white audience, for an audience who doesn't understand police brutality and doesn't experience racism on the daily. So, and it was just a lot of I knew going into it that there was going to be a lot of black trauma porn, but it was just not. And there were so many scenes within the book that I was like, why did this happen? And I mean, there were definitely scenes that were relatable and yes, this happens, white people do these things, but there were other scenes that just didn't feel quite relatable. But I think, again, it was written for, or it was written with white people in mind. Yeah, you can see my review on Goodreads if you're interested. I will put a link to that below. I wasn't impressed by it, but maybe throughout the year of 2020, I will be learning about my reading taste, and it just felt like a non-nuanced, shallow take on race relations in the US, and that's not something that I'm really interested in reading. But again, I should have so with the book Every Heart a Doorway, I went into it not knowing much about it, and so I thought if I did that with Dear Martin that it would improve my reading experience and I'd be more surprised by the things that happened. But it made me I just wasn't turned on by the book at all. So yeah. And that doesn't spoil it, but there's a black character and a white character who are romantically involved, and I didn't understand what her purpose was in the book, because she had no death or I don't know, just the character, her character in general was just not intriguing whatsoever, and that was a letdown as well. So those are my thoughts. Moving on to Every Heart a Doorway. I actually did a book review on this, so I'm not really gonna talk about it too much, but that was a great experience because like I said, I went into it not knowing much about it, and so I was pleasantly surprised to hear that there is an ace character who is the main protagonist, and although the murder mystery fell flat, I still really enjoyed the experience of the book. But again, I will put a link to that book review in the title card, and whatever the YouTube thing is above. I also listened to the audiobook Defining Realness by Janet Mock. That was probably my favorite book of April. The first few chapters were not that intriguing to me. I felt again, the book wasn't written for other black trans people. It was written for cis people to understand the trans experience. And in memoirs, I do a little bit of that educating part in it, but if it feels this book was just written for others to understand, then I'm turned off by it. But as Janet Mock went more into her story and more into the life lessons that she learned, I was just I want to meet you. Like, I want to be friends with you. I'm so inspired. I'm so, like, impressed by, like, all that she went through and where she's at now. So I really enjoyed that book. I enjoyed the experience of, like, oh, she also, what is that called? Like, narrates? She reads the book on the audiobook that I listened to. So that was also enjoyable. I will also have a link to my written review of the book. I feel like can you really like review a memoir? It's like their life, so it's like, eh. But I've also read memoirs that I didn't like, so maybe you can. I don't know. But, oh, Defining Realness, by the way, is a memoir written by a trans woman of color, and it deals with the themes of coming of age, family, identity, domestic violence. There, trigger warning, there is domestic violence and child molestation, and transphobia. They talk about police relations and coming out and sex work and gender and sexuality and things like that. So if those are themes that you're interested in and want to explore, especially explore through the lens of a trans woman of color, I definitely recommend that you check out that book, whether it's audiobook or the physical copy. Janet Mock also wrote another book called Surpassing Certainty, which is a memoir about like her 20s, and so I think in the month of May or just in the future sometime, I will read that book as well, because I really enjoyed Defining Realness, and I've read that Surpassing Certainty like picks up where Defining Realness ends, so I'm excited about that. Lastly, another book I read was The Inexplicable Logic of My Life. I am blanking on who the author is, but again, I'm going to be putting the pictures of all these books on there. But that book, it's not that I like didn't like it, I just didn't love it. I would probably rate it like a 3 out of 5 stars. I don't plan on writing like a written review of it either. It just wasn't like, at the end, the ending was predictable. I mean, there was one thing that wasn't very predictable. I thought it was like going to be a friends to lovers sort of thing, but it actually became like something else. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I thought that's where they were taking it, and then it took a turn, and I was like, okay, all right, that's fine. And the book just felt like the pacing was super slow, and that's not a good or a bad thing, it's just a thing. And I think it's supposed to be like reflective of because the book deals with like grief and family, and the main character has a gay dad, and he's grappling with like having a gay dad. I'm blanking on where I just came from. Oh, so I think the book is reflective of like how dealing with grief isn't this quick thing. It's like a slow, drawn out process, and like the book itself is slow and drawn out. Maybe. I don't know. If you have read any of these books, please like leave your comments and thoughts in the comments below. That is my April wrap-up video. I hope to post a lot more videos throughout the month of May because it is Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and it is Mental Health Awareness Month, and so I will be posting like my TBR for books that cover those identities and topics. So yeah, all right. I hope you have a great week. Please stay safe throughout the global crisis that we're dealing with. Yeah, bye.